Okay, so you recognize that even though everything can be described as a social construct in one way or another, some things you can change a characteristic about a person, and in other ways you really can't. Some ways are more empirically determined than others.
Absolutely, that's a fact.
Okay, all right. Well, then we agree on that. So you seem to be pulling back to this broader societal argument about how we're destroying society and what have you. But I've looked at the numbers, and it doesn't really seem like accepting trans people harms anyone anywhere. I mean, in any metric.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
0% of you are subscribed. Fix that.
Howdy.
Howdy! Hey, wait, that's my line.
Well, can I start with the title of your video, Vaush? Really?
Yeah, sure.
Debating a Nazi. I'm assuming you're referencing me as being the Nazi in this conversation. Is that correct?
Yeah. Do you take issue with that characterization? I can change the title.
What could you possibly have taken from anything I've said to you that would classify me as a Nazi?
Well, the things you said, the media is absolutely the enemy of the people. Trans women are just men pretending to be chicks. You don't know what chicks mean. Huh?
That's absolutely true. That's not a Nazi position. That's a reality position.
Okay,
that has
gotcha,
nothing to do with Nazism. But go ahead.
And then the border needs to be secured. And okay, so this is subjective on my part, but the logo that you have in your Gmail account reminds me of a bunch of accounts that I've seen like cycling in Nazi communities. Because it reminds me of like the aestheticization of German propaganda. So I kind of made a logical leap. But if you want to impugn me for being uncharitable there, that's on me.
Oh my God.
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Really quickly. Your audio is cutting out a lot, unfortunately.
Are you going to end this conversation now?
Well, no, I'm just pointing out in case there's something you can do.
Okay, so let's talk about this whole notion that you have that trans women are women. Let's start there.
Okay, yeah, sure. All right, I can tell that this is going to be an extremely productive conversation. Okay, why don't you think trans women are women?
Well, they're the opposite of women, really. So I really just want to say that the notion that you can modify the English language or language in general, because I'm sure this is in every language, but you know, the language in general, human language, to infer an opposite definition towards something is just it's insanity, really, Vaush.
Don't we all amend the language all the time? Isn't that what language is? I mean, we didn't like discover language. We kind of developed it organically over thousands of years.
Sure, and I know one of your favorite things to say is that gender is a social construct, right?
Yeah, that's a very defensible argument. Yeah, sex
Sure.
is too.
I know sex is absolutely a social construct. Age is a social construct. Race is a social construct. Units of time, minutes, hours, seconds is all social construct. Everything that we view and see in the universe and we put through communication to each other to come to an understanding is a social construct. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
So by your definition of social construct, then me being a 49-year-old white male who's 250 pounds, I could define myself or identify tomorrow as a 150-pound, 73-year-old Asian woman, and there's nothing you can really say about it.
I could say some things about it.
Well, you would have to agree that I'm able to do that, and that society should bend its knee to my choice to identify as such.
I would not say that.
And
do you think there's a difference between one's weight and one's gender in terms of the extent to which it conforms to social expectation?
But social expectation is a social construct. So what you're going in circles here.
Well, everything is a social construct, but not all social constructs are matters of identity. For example, the criteria that we use to arrive at our understanding of mass and how we weigh things, that is affected by social norms. However, within the context of those social norms, mass is empirical. It can be empirically determined. Whereas gender, which is more of a set of roles and expectations, is very much a subjective experiential thing. So it's both a social construct and a matter of identity, which is what distinguishes it from, say, you identifying as an attack helicopter.
So that we have established that I can wake up tomorrow and decide I want to be an Asian female, 100 pounds lighter, and you think that's a very valid point. Or you said No, because certain aspects of that are not something I can identify as.
The latter, as we addressed, there's a difference between
Okay, so-
identifying as a different
so,
gender and
yeah.
identifying as a different weight. You can't empirically measure gender. The way gender is described doesn't conform to an inherent collection of biological traits. Now, you can concretely
your measurements are a social. Hold on. Your measurements are a social construct. So don't use words like you can give a specific measurement on this, because the measurement itself is a social construct.
Okay, I'm going to try to slow this down a bit. Okay, so hold on. From your perspective, not from my perspective, but from your perspective.
Draw circles and squares.
Okay, so I want your opinion on this. Okay, so is it possible?
Whoa. Are you going to do a Destiny and give me some convoluted, ridiculous hypothetical right now?
No, not even slightly. Okay, not even slightly.
Don't do it, dude.
I'm not. No, I'm not going to do
Destiny, I'll call Destiny. Okay.
I'm not going to do it. Okay. I'm just going to ask you some very basic questions. Okay. So, do you think it's possible for a person who is a baseball fan to become a football fan, to go from one to the next?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think it's possible for a person to say that the atoms in their body are no longer hydrogen, nitrogen, carbon, and what have you? Actually, they're all made of gold. That they identify as having all of their atoms and molecules being made up of gold. Do you think that's a thing a person can do?
Well, they can do whatever they want to do, sure.
Okay, but do you think that's a thing that should be recognized? Do you think that's a valid claim?
You would recognize that, so yes. I'm
asking for your. Hold on, I'm asking for your perspective.
My perspective, Vaush, is you guys need to come back to reality.
Answer the question. You're running away. You're running. You're dashing. No, wait, hold on.
I can't run, Vaush, okay? I'm a little too old and sluggish. I don't run.
So what is the difference?
No, I do not accept any of your nonsense, Vaush.
That's fine. I do say a lot of silly stuff. So what is the difference between changing which type of sport you're a fan of and changing the atomic composition of your body? What's the difference between those things? Because they're both social constructs, how we adhere these things, you know. We made the periodic table, after all. We didn't discover it. We made it. Why is the former acceptable? Why could we recognize a change in that respect, and the latter is not?
One is a choice I can make, and one is not a choice I can make. That's the answer you're fishing for.
That is absolutely the answer I'm fishing for. But what does the effect on the people around you have to do with anything?
Because, Vaush, you guys are trying to force your insanity on the rest of the real world.
Okay, so you recognize that even though everything can be described as a social construct in one way or another, some things you can change a characteristic about a person, and in other ways you really can't. Some ways are more empirically determined than others.
Absolutely, that's a fact.
Okay, all right. Well, then we agree on that. So you seem to be pulling back to this broader societal argument about how we're destroying society and what have you, but I've looked at the numbers, and it doesn't really seem like accepting trans people harms anyone anywhere. I mean, in any metric.
Whoa. There is no accepting trans in America, my friend. And now let's just keep
the government already has, though.
Okay, if weight is off the table for you, what about my race? Can I identify as an African American tomorrow and obtain a grant for African American?
I'm gonna be real with you. I think the conversation about transracialism is a little beyond the purview of our discussion here.
Did you say a huge movement
of white people who?
How many people in the United States of America are transgender, Vaush?
I'm pretty sure it's over 1 million, isn't it? It's around a 0.5% of people who are. Hold on, number of trans people. That's a pretty good number. I mean, yeah, about 0.42% of U.S. adults.
Wait. 0.42 is a huge movement?
That's 1.5 million people in America.
That's a huge movement of people.
That's more than the population of more than half of the states in this country, isn't it? I mean, that's a pretty large number of people.
But that number of people, that should affect change across all of our society. That 0.04%.
Wait, do you think ethics are determined by how loud the voices of minorities are? What do you mean? Yeah, of course, absolutely. If it was just one person, then yeah, we should. If one person got some super rare disease or something, and the scientists were like, we could update our medical journals, but it's only one guy. No, of course not. If the truth is the truth, right?
But it's not the truth. It's a fantasy.
I feel like we've been over that. Who's
We were
stronger,
designed.
a 6-year-old boy or a 6-year-old girl?
Who's stronger in what way?
Just generally.
Just seems to be a logical assessment that men are stronger than women. Period. Do you think the woman would be stronger in that scenario? She'd be able to lift a 50-pound weight as opposed to a boy lifting a 30-pound weight above his
No,
head?
I think they're about the same. So hold on. I'm looking at a research paper right here. This is muscular strength and power in 3 to 7-year-old children, so prepubescent. No interaction or sex differences were observed for any variable at any age. So pre-puberty, little boys and girls are basically, when it comes to athleticism, the same, because all of the conditions which lead to men outperforming women take place over puberty. So if we prevent that puberty, then they should be on pretty much the same playing field, you know?
And you think it's a good thing to prevent puberty?
If it's deemed medically helpful, yeah.
At what point would you start to administer these puberty blockers? At what?
Well, usually what happens is if a child is demonstrating early signs of gender nonconforming behavior to an extent that it seems like it might be medically necessary or relevant, they go to a psychiatrist and a doctor. And they
Holy shit. What the fuck?
So I want to be clear about something. Hold on. I want to be clear about something. When I just said that, what I don't mean is a little boy trying on makeup, okay? I mean persistent and long-term indications from the people around them that this child is actively rejecting the physiological and social characteristics associated with their gender.
Got it. So I got it. So they're libtard parents who are fucking libs fucking say, oh, my kid, look at him. He's such a little girl. He loves girl things. He loves the little dress I bought him. He loves the little toys I bought him. Get the fuck out of here.
And then, hold on. And then
fucking
you
psychiatric fucking visit with a 6-year-old. Fuck
and
you.
And then, not a 6-year-old, probably more around 9 or 10. Probably
fuck
around,
you again.
Hold on. So then you go to a doctor, and the doctor will refer you to a psychiatrist with a specialist inclination in pediatric gender psychiatry. And then over the course of
fuck out of here with your bullshit.
And then over the course of a long period of time.
9-year-old. Hold on. So you're telling me a 9-year-old is going to be put on puberty blockers because a fucking parents took him to a fucking doctor?
I feel like you're not listening to me. So let's go over the process again.
Assholes decided, let's put them on puberty blockers?
So let's try again. So hold on. I know you're very triggered right now, but we're almost at the point. Hold on. Hold on. So
triggered is for liberals. Anger is for
if I acted the way you did, I would also have to convince myself that it could only happen to liberals.
So hold on a second. Oh God, I don't know where to begin.
There really isn't any evidence of like.
I don't even know where to begin.
This leading to long-term harm of children.
This is fucking child abuse on a massive scale right here. This is outrageous.
Well, you don't think being trans is a real thing, so you're probably not educated enough to comment on the medical process.
Parents, I'm very educated on reality. Parents who put their children through this should be thrown in jail, Vaush. They don't deserve to be parents. Okay,
so wait, hold on.
There.
Secondly, wait, why? For taking their kid to the doctor?
I'm not going to hold up there. I would wait for a kid to become a fucking adult and make a choice, Vaush.
Well, that right there is the issue.
Just like children are not able to make life-changing decisions at the age of 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, or 13, Vaush, or even 15 or 16.
Well, that's why they're reversible. That's the benefit. They don't. If you get your kid on puberty blockers, it doesn't harm them long term. That's the benefit of the process. If it did, if taking puberty blockers at like 9 or whatever, like permanently like fucked a body or like permanently set you down the path for transition, doctors wouldn't do it. It's because of their reversibility that they're praised.
The only way you're going to come to know Jesus Christ is through the Word of God, my friend.
I hear it in my thoughts and my dreams, okay?
Whatever you're hearing is lying to you, okay? And it's not of God, okay? Whatever you're hearing in your ears, no, that's not of God, my friend. I wake up tomorrow, I decide I want to be something I'm not.